Right, you can ask a question concerning the last segment that we shared concerning the realm of water as life in the last segment of the marine. What is your question? Ask your question.
So why does water represent life?
Why does water represent life?
Yes.
And my question to you is, can you be able to point out something that you assume that it has nothing to do with water?
Electricity.
Electricity comes from water. Electricity is generated from water. Do you have anything that you want to add?
I gave an example of plants because also plants need water to live also. Even like the houses that are built, they need water for like cement to build the bricks.
Yes. Everything needs water. And without water, we don't have any production. Without water, even human beings cannot exist. Without water, human beings cannot survive. The trees need water. The furniture that is inside this house, these are trees. They needed water. The buildings, the houses, bricks. Houses are not made of bricks. They are made of water. Why? Because water made the bricks. Anything that has to be combined, anything has to be built, anything that needs to be constructed, you'll see that water gets involved. So water is the definition of life, to answer that question.
And
Yes.
also like for like as a human body, when you eat food, you need water in order to digest it. Because if there's no water, you would die if the food is not digested in your body.
Yes, it's true. You need water, and you don't only need water. You yourself, as a human being, you are made of water inside your system. And in as much as you are made of water, you still need that water to activate the water that is already inside your body, activate the water that is already running inside your system. You can imagine that there are moments that you feel dehydrated, but still you have got an amount of water inside your body to prove to you that even the water that is inside your body is not enough. Imagine, I explained earlier in that presentation and said, before a child is born, the waters have to be broken before a child is delivered. In actual fact, the breaking out of the waters, they resemble the coming of life, the coming of another creation, the coming of a newly born child. That baby, as time goes on, she needs water. But even before she gets water, even before he gets water, that child needs to be breastfed. And the mother needs liquids. The mother needs water so that she can breastfeed the child. Anything that is in liquid state, anything, it came from water. It is the definition of water. So there is not even a single thing that is beyond water. And the areas that are now defined by the flesh, they're defined by other practical substances that come into play, and they make they need water to be part of them. Like if you are building, if you are to combine anything that is practical, it needs water to be one of the components. It needs water to be one of the products. It needs water to become one of the equations so that it becomes possible. I hope all of you have understood this teaching. I know it's not a teaching for kids, but you need to learn these things so that you grow up in wisdom, you grow up in the spirit of truth. Ask.
So where does blood play part in the water?
Where does blood play part in the water? Blood, the fact that blood is a liquid state. This is why even when during blood transfusion, they need you to take more juices, right? Why do they require that you take more juices? Why do they require that you take much juices?
I think so that you don't lose energy.
So that you what?
Don't lose energy whilst doing the blood transfusion.
Yes, of course, to some extent they are talking about, they're trying to manage that you don't lose energy. It's true. But again, whenever they tell you to take those juices, they are advising you to add more water inside your system by taking juices. And those juices, they are made of water. Why? Because you cannot add blood by eating meat. There's no way you can add blood by eating meat. So the only way you can add blood into your system is blood also needs water. For blood to be manufactured inside the body, blood needs what? Blood needs water. We have another question. So I hope all of you have learned how essential water is as a product of life, how essential water is as a definition of life, how water is a value not only inside your body, but a value as a consumption inside your body, how water is valuable in the realms. In the realms, I explained that the realm of life is defined by water. There are realms, like I explained, those realms, when you get there, there's only water in the realms, not on this practical earth.
Is there also a realm of blood?
Yes, it is there. The realm of blood is there. This is why you realize the realm of blood is not this blood that is flowing in the veins. This blood that is flowing in the veins, it is blood that is merely signifying a representation of the real blood. So when Jesus was offering his blood, he was not offering the blood that was coming out of his flesh. He was representing pure blood that is represented by the realm of blood. And in that realm of blood, you find pure sacrifices that are dedicated to the same Jesus. So there is also unclean blood. This is why you realize that if they want to know whether you are sick or not, if they want to investigate about your conditions, even the doctors,
Blood tests.
yes, they do blood tests. Why do they do blood tests?
I think maybe to know what type of blood you have, and I think also has to do with the genetics and the chromosomes of your family background.
Yes, all those genetics, all those blood components, anything that has to do with the human life, it is inside the blood. But remember, the ultimate foundation of the blood is the water. So this is why we are defined by blood. Why? Because the blood is in different genes. And the blood that is defined in different genes, it is the blood that carries different identities. It is the blood that carries different characters. This is why you can know one that is connected to you by blood, by testing the blood. Yes. Even the machines, these machines that they use to test anything that is inside your blood, to test what type of blood do you have, to test any blood connections, those machines, they've been advanced to detect things that are spiritual. Why? Because there's no way you can trace blood samples with a physical eye. So these machines, they are spiritual, that they use to test the blood. It's the same thing when the water is very clear, but the water is dirty, but it is clear.
With the naked eye, we have to use something to see what's inside the water.
Yes, we have to use something to trace the cleanliness of the blood. We have to also use something that is advanced to trace the purity of that water. And even after the water has been boiled, we are just confirming after boiling. We are not confirming after starting if really there are other particles inside that water. We are only affirming because we boiled the water and we believe that we have killed everything that is inside the water. So this is why you realize that there is another level of water with impurities that cannot be removed by boiling that water. It is now another level in the realms of the waters. And in that realm, water that is impure is water that has been hijacked by the fallen entities. And there are now entities that are inside that water. And those entities that are inside that water, they are entities that cannot be seen visible. Why? Because they are invisible. And they stay inside that water. So you cannot boil them out. You understand?
I have another question. I was about to ask, so like when those rituals or sangomas, they use blood, what does it represent? Why would they want your blood to sacrifice you?
Why? Because they know that blood defines you. They know, they understand that blood defines you. They are very informed when it comes to matters of the blood. They know that blood is a product of water. Now, what do I mean? They know that every definition, every explanation, every interpretation, every translation about the human being life comes from the water. So they know that if we are to deal with a human being, there's a component of water that is called the blood inside a human being, but blood then carries the uniqueness, the different blood types inside human beings. They define different definitions of humans, and they're defined by the blood. So to trace someone in the spirit, you have to know their blood type in the spirit.
But how do they do that?
Because they engage the spiritual, because all these components, all these representations, the blood and the water, they are spiritual realms. But in the physical, they define the system of a human being. They define the part of a human being. But in the realms, there are actually places you can reach. You can reach the realm of blood. You can reach the realm of water. You can reach the realm of fire. All those are realms in the spirit. Now, when you get into those realms, we are defined not by one blood type. We are not defined by one type of definition of the water. We are defined by many blood types. And those blood types, they represent different kingdoms. So when blood is being sacrificed, There's a type of blood that is being sacrificed. So if the dark kingdom is sacrificing the blood that is representing your blood that represents another kingdom, it is an elevation process for someone. It is an elevation stepping stone for someone to sacrifice your blood. Why? Because when they are sacrificing your blood, they have subdued your blood. They've dominated your blood. They've conquered your blood. They've infiltrated your blood. They've invoked your identity. You understand? So many are the realms and the realms of the spirit which define different realms of life. And indeed, the blood also represents a certain significance of life. Why? Because Jesus himself had to spill his own blood. But before he spilled his own blood, like I explained in the presentation, he had to get baptized of the water and the spirit. The water was part of the process of even the makeup of Christ when he dwelt amongst the flesh. Water is more than life. It is actually the definition of the afterlife. Water is the blood. This flesh, for it to be sustained, which represents the dust of the earth, which represents the ground, even the bread which Jesus was breaking, defining it as his body, it was bread that was made by the water. The wine itself, which resembled blood, I explained it earlier, it was wine in a liquid state, which was made through water. So water remains as the ultimate definition.
Why do they say that bread is the Jesus' body?
Why? Because you need bread to function, and bread represents any physical consumption of any type of food. Any type of food which is not bread, it falls under bread. Why? Because Jesus says, give us this day our daily bread. When Jesus is saying, give us this day our daily bread, he's talking about any physical consumption that you can put inside your body to strengthen your body. The body cannot be strengthened only by water or the blood. The body also needs physical consumption. This is why God gave us this land, which has got the herbs, which has got the fruits, everything that needs to be consumed. I'm trying to get the word that is defining any physical substance that you consume. Do you have that word? Visible. I'll just say visible or practical food that can be digested inside your body. The practical food that gets digested in your body, be it any kind of food, and then any other liquid, these two, they represent the blood and water and the flesh. This is why what makes a human being is the flesh, the blood, and the water. You understand? So I hope that all of you enjoyed this study, this teaching, and continue having the hunger for the word of God. I know the teaching was difficult for the third of you. Why? Because you are still young, but you need to be equipped by that type of depth of information for the benefit sake of your spirit, souls, and body, your flesh, your blood, and the water, in Jesus' mighty name.